Sarvadharma sthapakatvam sarvadharma swarupakaha acharyanam mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya te namaha. O establisher of all the faiths, embodiment of all the religions, the greatest teacher among all the teachers, O Sri Ramakrishna, my salutations to you. Namaste, Pranam. Sri Ramakrishna categorically telling us and the Brahmos that the person who points the finger at God while doing all the sinful acts, he is a hypocrite, like Duryodhana. Addressing that comment, that query from a Brahmo, that if it is God that makes us do everything, then I'm not responsible for my sins. Sri Ramakrishna says you can't ever disown the responsibility of committing the sin. Don't put that responsibility onto God. God does everything, that's fine. But you have right to say that God does everything when you have firm conviction that God is doing everything. When you have firm conviction that I am an instrument in the hands of God. Don't say like Duryodhana. Duryodhana had told Sri Krishna that, oh Krishna, what can I do? Sitting in my heart, you are making me do all these evil things. Krishna will never do it that way, Sri Ramakrishna says. That if you have this firm conviction, if you have got this firm faith that God sitting in my heart is doing everything, then your feet will never turn in the wrong direction. You will never do any bad things. You will never do any sinful acts. If that firm, strong faith is there in you, that God is the doer. Otherwise, saying God is doing everything, getting everything done through me, so I am free to do anything that I want. Sri Ramakrishna says, these are the hypocritic words. These are the words which have no substance in them, because the person inside is so impure that he cannot understand the God's ways. So Sri Ramakrishna says finally that one cannot even believe in God until one's heart becomes pure. Attain that purity, attain that kind of faith, and then you will never do anything wrong. Then you will firmly believe in that ultimate truth that God is the ultimate doer. He is getting everything done in this creation. Then Sri Ramakrishna appreciated that Brahmo gathering, and he said it is very good to gather in this way. It is very good to gather in this way now and then and think of God, sing of His glories. Sri Ramakrishna really liked the gathering of the Brahmos in this way. But Sri Ramakrishna made a very poignant comment, a very strong comment. What he said, that, but the worldly man's yearning for God is momentary. The worldly man, the man who is steeped in worldliness, at times he shows the signs of yearning for God. But Sri Ramakrishna says that yearning is just momentary. And the example that he gives is, it lasts as long as a drop of water on a red hot frying pan. The moment you sprinkle some water on a red hot frying pan, in a jiffy, in a moment, that water just evaporates by making some noise. Sri Ramakrishna says, worldly man's showing off yearning for God is something like this. It is there for a moment. Next moment, the person jumps into the whirlpool of worldliness. That the attachment, that yearning for God is just there for that particular moment. So that's how that day passed with the Brahmo devotees. And next was on May 27th, 1883. Now the gathering is in Sri Ramakrishna's room at Dakshineshwar. The devotees have come, and it is morning time, and Sri Ramakrishna is again into his wonderful mood of showering those nectarine teachings on this close group of devotees who have gathered in his room. Sri Ramakrishna says, it is not good to harbor malice. That is Sri Ramakrishna's universal message. Never harbor any malice. And then Sri Ramakrishna gives his example. The Shaktas, the Vaishnavas, the Vedantists quarrel among themselves. All the sects, all the different schools of practices within the fold of Hinduism, the Shaktas, the Vaishnavas, the Vedantists, they all fight among themselves, Sri Ramakrishna says. And then he gives example that this is not correct at all, fighting between themselves. And he gives the example of Pandit Padmalochan. Pandit Padmalochan was a court Pandit of Maharaja of Burdwan. Once at the meeting, the Pandits were discussing whether Śiva was superior to Brahma or Brahma was superior to Śiva. So this is the thing that has happened in the past that Sri Ramakrishna is telling the devotees. In the court of Pandit of Maharaja of Burdwan, there was this debate going on between various Pandits. Who is greater? Some Pandits saying Śiva is greater than Brahma, some Pandits saying Brahma is greater than Śiva. And then they all came to Pandit Padmalochan to seek his comment upon it, his advice upon it. Who is greater? So Padmalochan gave an appropriate reply. This story Sri Ramakrishna is telling. I don't know anything about it. Padmalochan clearly said, I don't know anything about it, whether Śiva is great or Brahma is great. I haven't talked either to Śiva or even to Brahma. He says, I don't know. I have never met Śiva, I have never met Brahma, I have not talked to them. So I am incapable, I am not in a position to give a verdict on this debate. Who is great? Śiva is great or Brahma is great? To me, both are equal. So that was the example in a lighter vein that Sri Ramakrishna told, that we should never harbor malice against another's opinion. If people feel sincere longing, they will find that all paths lead to God. That is Sri Ramakrishna's firm conviction. All paths lead to God, Sri Ramakrishna says. As many faiths, so many paths, and all paths lead to God. But one should have nishtha, single-minded devotion. It is also described as chaste and unswerving devotion to God. This nishtha, this chaste devotion, this unswerving devotion to God is extremely necessary. But when you have that, don't harbor any malice towards any other opinions, any other decisions, any other ways, modes of devotion. You have firm conviction in your devotion. Follow that path assiduously. Follow that path meticulously. Follow that path with wholehearted focus on that path. Don't waver yourself. Oh, should I go there? Should I go there? Should I worship this? Should I worship that? No. Pick up a devotional path and stick to it with a single-minded devotion, with the unchaste devotion. And then Sri Ramakrishna gives the example that it is like a tree with only one trunk shooting straight up. You have seen that the trees of the aracanat or the palm, it is a single stem, no branches, only the leaves will be there. But the single stem, it just shoots up and up and up. And then Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the promiscuous devotion is like a tree with 5 branches. You will have all the different kind of branches spread around. Oh, this is one branch, this is that branch, this is branch. There is no focus as such. Such was the single-minded devotion of the gopis for Krishna that they didn't care to look at anyone but Krishna they had seen at Vrindavan. The Shepherd Krishna, bedecked with the garland of yellow wild flowers and wearing a peacock feather in his crest. That is the Krishna that gopis adored. That is the Krishna that gopis loved. That is the Krishna that gopis had single-minded devotion. That Gopal, that Krishna, who was bedecked with wildflowers. He never had any kind of a fancy crown and jewelry to him. adorned with the wild flowers, with a peacock feather. So that kind of Krishna the gopis adored. That kind of Krishna the gopis had the great devotion for. They knew only that form of Krishna. But when they saw the Krishna in Mathura, their reaction was totally different. At the sight of Krishna at Mathura, with a turban on his head and dressed in royal robes, the gopis pulled down their veils. They started feeling ashamed of looking at this strange guy. Oh no, we will never look at this person. Who is he? He was Krishna with fine clothing, with the turban on his head, and dressed in royal robes. The Krishna of Vrindavan was totally different. Krishna of Mathura was totally different. The gopis, they were totally devoted to Krishna of Vrindavan. They didn't even bother to look at this Krishna at Mathura. Oh, who is this man? And immediately they pulled their veils down. At Vrindavan, they were so open with Krishna. They used to play with him. They used to feed him. They used to dance with him. But here in Mathura, they saw a totally different Krishna and they said, who is he? They would not look at his face. Who is this man? They said. Should we violate our chaste love for Krishna by talking to him? We are devoted to Krishna. We have chaste love for Krishna. We have single-pointed devotion to Krishna that we know in Vrindavan. This Krishna we don't know at all. He's so elegantly dressed with a turban on his head and decked with all the jewels and ornaments. No, he's not our Krishna. That is the devotion Sri Ramakrishna says. The moment you pick up a devotional path, stick to it. Stick to it with all the conviction. Stick to it with a single-pointed devotion. Don't waver yourself. Don't even look at the Krishna of Mathura. Just be devoted to Krishna of Vrindavan. Like that. The devotion of the wife to her husband is also an instance of unswerving love. Sri Ramakrishna says, even the love wife has for her husband, the unswerving love wife has for her husband is also an example for this kind of single-pointed devotion. She feeds her brothers-in-law as well and looks after their comforts, but she has a special relationship with her husband. Now this particular teaching is mainly taking into account the householders who are sitting in that room. Everybody knows how the wife treats her brothers-in-law. She has great respect for them. She has love for them. But her relationship with her husband has got its own uniqueness. She can't behave the same way with her brothers-in-law. Although she will feed them, she will take care of them, she will see that their laundry is washed and everything is done. They get their food at the right time. But her love towards husband is something unique. And that is the kind of love Sri Ramakrishna says. That is the kind of devotion that we should always have towards our chosen ideal. Likewise, one may have that single-minded devotion to one's own religion, but one should not on that account hate other faiths. The housewife, she doesn't hate her brothers-in-law. She takes care of them. But that unique love is only for her husband. That unique love, that unique devotion you have for your religion. But with that particular unique devotion, with that single-pointed devotion, you don't start hating other religions. We don't harbor any malice towards other religions or towards other opinions, towards other paths. On the contrary, one should have a friendly attitude towards them. One should be friendly with them. One should have a reverence for them. No one is forcing you to follow those religious paths. Nobody is forcing you to adopt those spiritual practices. But that doesn't mean that you should start hating them, that you should start harboring malice towards them. Be true to your faith. Be true to your religion. Be true to your opinion, your dogma, your path that you have chosen. But that doesn't mean that you should start hating the other religions, the other paths. Because Sri Ramakrishna says all paths lead towards God. As many faiths, so many paths, and all paths lead towards God. So that is Sri Ramakrishna's teaching to this group of intimate devotees sitting in his room in Dakshineshwar. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji.